child of superhuman strength, Kentaro was raised by a mountain ogress on Mount Ashigara. He became friendly with the animals of the mountain, and later he became Sakata no Kentoki, a warrior of Lightyo, a follower of Minamoto no Yoramitsu. It is a Japanese custom to put up a Kentaro doll on Boys' Day in the hope that the sons of the family will become equally brave and strong. An old couple lived alone and childless. Childless, the old woman wished to have a child despite her old age, even if he was only 1 inch tall. Soon after the old woman's wish was granted, they named the miniature child the son Boucher, 1 inch boy of a child. Although he was incredibly small, he was treated well by his parents. One day, the boy realized he would never grow taller than 1 inch and went on a trip to seek his place in the world, fancying himself a miniature samurai. The son Bushai was given a sewing needle for a sword, a rice bowl boat, and chopsticks for oars. He sailed down river to the city where he petitioned for a job with the government and went to the home of a wealthy daimyo whose daughter was an attractive princess. He was scorned for his small size, but was nevertheless given the job of accompanying the princess as her playmate. While they traveled together, they were suddenly attacked by an one, or an ogre in some translations. The boy which defeated this demon using his needle, and the Anai dropped his magical mallet of luck. As a reward for his bravery, the princess used the power of the mallet to grow him to full size. The Sambushai and the princess remained close companions and eventually would wed. His name literally means a peace Taro, as Taro is a common Japanese boy's name. It is often translated as Peach Boy. Mama Taro is also the title of various books and films. Mama Torio came to Earth inside a giant peach, which was found floating down a river by an old childless woman who was washing clothes there. The woman and her husband discovered the child one day, tried to open the peach to eat it. The child explained that he had been sent by heaven to be their son. The couple named him Mama Toro from Mama Peach and Toro, eldest son in the family. Years later, Mama Toro left his parents for an island called Oniagashima to destroy the Marathon demons or ogres that dwelt there. En route, Mama Toro met and befriended a talking dog, monkey, and pheasant who agreed to help him in his quest. At the island, Mama Toro and his animal friends penetrated the demons fort and beat the demons' leader Ura, as well as his Aunt May, and to surrendering, Mama Taro returned home with his new friends, and his family lived comfortably from then on. Arashima Taro was fishing one day when he spotted a turtle, which he appeared to be in trouble. Arashima kindly saved the turtle, and I returned the turtle, took Arashima to a dragon palace, deep underwater where Arashima met a lovely princess who spent a few days under the sea. The magic of the turtles had given him gills. However, he did not realize that time that the dragon palace passed much more slowly than on the land. And back during those few days underwater, 300 years had passed on the land when Urashima went on the return to dry land. The princess gave him a box containing his true age, but did not tell him what was inside. She instructed him never to open the box. When he returned home, he found that all his family had died. Stricken with grief, he opened the box, which released a cloud of white smoke, causing Urashima to age and die. Banbuka Chagama, or roughly translates to happiness bubbling over like a teapot. The story tells of a poor man who found a Tanoke raccoon doll caught in a trap. Feeling sorry for the animal, he set it free. That night, the Tanake came to the poor man's house to thank him for his kindness, and the Tanake transformed itself into Chagama and told the man to sell him for money. The man sold the Tanaka teapot to a monk who brought it home, and after scrubbing it harshly, set it over the fire to boil water. Unable to stand the heat, the Tanaka teapot sprouted legs and, in its half-transformed state, ran away. The Tanaka returned to the poor man with another idea. The man would set up a roadside attraction like a little circus like setup and charge admission for people to see a teapot walking on a tightrope. The plan worked and each gained something good from the other. The man was no longer poor and the Tanaka had a new friend and home. Story of a kind old man with his avaricious wife and an injured sparrow. The story explores the effects of greed, friendship, and jealousy. The story details the life of Kaguya Haim, a princess from the moon, who was discovered as a baby inside the stalk of a glowing bamboo plant. After she grows, her beauty attracts 5 suitors seeking her hand in marriage, whom she turns away by challenging them, each with an impossible task. She later attracts the affection of the Emperor of Japan. At the tale's end, Kaguya Haim reveals her celestial origins and returns to the moon. Kaioheim is a character in the story Aunt Chine, and Kaioheim in this story she fell in love with a Buddhist monk named Aunt Chine, but after her interest in the monk was rejected, she chased after him and transformed into a serpent in a rage before killing him in a bell where he had hidden in the Dojoji temple. Bancho Sarayashike, Bancho Sarayashike, the dish Machan at the Bancho is a Japanese ghost story, Keidan, a broken trust and broken promises, leading to a dismal fate. According to the story, there was a beautiful servant named Akiku, who worked for the samurai Ayama Tasan. Akiku often refused him when he said he was in love with her and wanted to marry her, so he tricked her into believing that she had carelessly lost one of the family's 10 precious stealth plates. Such a crime would normally result in her death. In a frenzy, she counted and recounted the 9 plates. Many times, however, she could not find the 10th and went to Ayama. In guilty tears, the samurai offered to overlook the matter that she finally became his lover, but again she refused and raged. Ayama threw her down a well to her death. It is said that Akiku became a vengeful spirit on Rio, who tormented her murderer by counting to 9 and then making a terrible shriek to represent the missing 10th plate. Or perhaps she had tormented herself and was still trying to find the 10th plate but cried out in agony when she never could. In some versions of the story, this torment continued until an exorcist or neighbor shouted 10 in a loud voice at the end of her count. Her ghost finally relieved that someone had found the plate for her, haunted the samurai no more. Akache is an onomatopoeia of the crackling sound the fire makes. Of Yama means mountain. The rough translation is fire crackle mountain. One of the few Japanese folk tales in which Tunake raccoon dog is the villain and confronts a heroic rabbit. The story of the old man that made the flowers bloom. An old childless couple loved their dog. One day, dug in the garden, they found a box of gold pieces there. A neighbor thought the dog must be able to find treasure and arranged to borrow the dog. When it dug in his garden, the dog uncovered only bones and he killed it. He told the couple that the dog had just dropped dead. They grieved and buried it under the fig tree where they had found the treasure one night. The dog's master dreamed that the dog told him to chop down the tree and make a mortar from it and pound rice in the mortar. He told his wife, who said they must do as the dog asked. When they did, the rice put into the mortar turned into gold. The neighbor borrowed the mortar, but his rice turned to foul-smelling berries. he and his wife smashed and burned a mortar of a night. That night, then a dream a dog told his master to take the ashes and sprinkle them on certain cherry trees. When he did the cherry trees, it came into a bloom. And that daimyo, a federal lord, who was passing by, marveled at this and gave him many gifts. The neighbor tried to do the same, for his ashes blew into daimyo's eyes, so he threw him into prison. When he was released, his village would not let him live there anymore, and he could not, with his wicked ways, find a new home. Spitting raps, spitting stories right off the top of my dome about Japanese folklore, which forms a pony and short shore. I'm spitting forever freestyling stories of Japanese folklore.